are.
Sure. So, hello everyone, I'm Tim, I'm 19 and studying psychology at UQ. And I'm here because I have a stutter. I've been stuttering pretty much ever since I could talk. I've been in and out of speech therapy basically my whole life, and a couple of years ago, almost 2 years ago, I found the Smooth Speech group, the Speak Easy group, and they teach the smooth speech technique, which I don't really know much about Camperdown if that's similar anyway, but I've found the smooth speech technique very helpful, and it's just like changed my life basically. So I guess I'll explain a bit about smooth speech. So basically how it works is speaking in a slow rate, breathing into every phrase, and using that phrase, pause phrase technique, so to really keep your speech under control, and using gentle onsets. So I find breathing into every phrase really helps a lot with that. Really helps start the phrase gently, I guess. And when you're starting out using this technique, it's good to practice it quite slow, but once you get the fundamentals under control, you can start to speed it up, like I'm speaking right now. So you don't have to speak 50 all the time, that'd be terrible. So yeah, this is the first thing I've found that's really helped me. I feel like the tricky thing about stuttering is not a lot of people understand it. Even the speech pathologists don't really understand it. They're sort of learning as they go, like we all are. So it makes it tricky, but I think it's all about keeping an open mind and experimenting and seeing what works for you. And for me, smooth speech has worked for me, so it might work for you too, but not every technique works for everyone. And yeah, the other tricky thing about stuttering is you feel quite isolated, right? Like you don't really meet anyone else who had a stutter. Up until a couple years ago, I'd never met anyone else who had a stutter, so you feel quite alone. So that's what's awesome about groups like these and groups like Speak Easy, is that you get to meet other people who understand what it's like and are in the same situation as you, and it really helps a lot. So yeah, is there anything else?
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. Maybe we can ask if there's any questions, maybe?
Yeah.
So are you using the are you in like that? What's it called? Technique. The technique. Are you using that?
Can you tell that he's using it?
50.
Well, now, when you were giving that presentation, Tim, what technique were you using? Is that what you were asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, using smooth speech, but just a faster version of it, sped up.
So,
And yeah,
so did you say something next door where you were saying if you weren't using smooth speech, you'd be stuttering on every word pretty much?
yeah. So I feel like, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you guys, but I feel like the situation a lot of you maybe are thinking now is, well, I don't want to speak in 50 the rest of my life and speak really slow. And I felt that way too when I was little. I was like, oh, I don't want to change how I'm speaking. I want to speak like how I want to speak. But then as I got older, I sort of reached an ultimatum where it's like, well, either I learn this technique or I stutter on every word. So, and then from there the choice was pretty easy. But like how I'm speaking now, I don't think it's that different from how like a normal fluent person would speak. So yeah, so yeah. And that's one thing I forgot to mention too, is I practice pretty much every day. So what I do is, I drive on the way to work and do it, but you guys obviously can't drive, but you can just do it, you can put your earphones in. So I have a recording of myself speaking in 50 SPM, which is that slow rate you were doing before. and then I speak 50 over it. So speak like this. And I do that for 15 minutes every day on the way to work, and that really gets me in the zone of smooth speech and really helps keep my speech under control. So I think definitely 50 is useful. I think you should definitely still practice in 50, but then when you're speaking, you don't have to. You can speak quickly. But I guess you shouldn't be afraid to, if you're trying to speak and you're stuttering a lot, don't be afraid to bring it back and speak more slow. Because I promise you, like, no one will care. Like, no one really cares how you speak. I think it's just how you feel, like how you want to speak. And I know I'm a lot happier when I'm not stuttering compared to when I am stuttering. So that's what it's like for me. And let's go do something else. No, I think, yeah.
Anyone else got questions?
Tim, have you ever tried to hide your stutter from other people?
Yeah, that's one thing I was talking about in the other room is when I was in high school, like early high school, grades 7 and 8, I was quite ashamed that I stuttered, so I tried to hide it from everyone. I used to change my words. So if there was a particular word or a sound that I knew that I was going to stutter on, I'd change it and say something that means a similar thing, but it's not that word. But I think that's a terrible way to go about it, because it meant I couldn't be who I am. I couldn't speak how I wanted to speak. I couldn't say the words I wanted to say. So I think if there's one lesson you take away from this, it's to not be ashamed of who you are. Don't be ashamed of how you stutter. And obviously you can use techniques to help it, to try and overcome it. But I think if I could go back in time, that's one thing I would do, is just be who I am, speak what I wanted to say, and not be afraid that I was going to stutter.
Yeah. Thanks.
There's a little question over there.
Oh yeah, sorry.
What was it like stuttering in high school?
Yeah, I mean, it
What
was
was it like?
tough. Yeah, obviously, because as I said, people don't really understand it. They don't really understand what stuttering is or what it looks like, because it's a condition that I find not many people have. So there are people who are going to be mean to you and say like comments, which I'm sure they aren't intending to be mean, but that's how it comes across, because they're coming from a place of just not understanding. So, but I think it's just really important just to ignore what they have to say, because it doesn't really matter. Like, they're just a random person at a random school, you know. But yeah, I think oral presentations also were pretty tricky. I remember, yeah, I have some terrible stories of stuttering on like every word, and it's just a disaster. But I think all of you are in the right place, right? Because you're learning techniques, learning how to not be in that same situation I was. Yeah.
Have you ever had anyone ask if you had a favorite word?
A favourite word? I don't think anyone's asked me that.
The lucky one.
A favourite word?
They asked me that a million times.
Oh, how come? What do they ask you that?
I stutter on words, and they asked if I had favorite words.
And do you mean like you stutter on more words than others?
And I stutter on some words,
Mm.
and then the people thought I had favorite words.
Oh, because you stuttered on those words all the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
Or yeah, just ignore what those people have to say. Because it's really important to only surround yourself with people who lift you up and support you. And like, yeah, I know it's like scary, like people saying mean things, but I promise in 10 years' time, you won't even remember who they are or what they said. So, yeah.
That's so wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Mm.
Tim.